3 months earlier. The rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the penthouse like bullets, each drop a reminder that Seoul never slept, never softened. I pressed my forehead against the cold glass, watching the city lights blur into watercolor streaks 40 stories below. My heat was coming. I could feel it building beneath my skin like a fever, making everything too sensitive, too raw. As an Omega, I'd learned to hide it well. Suppressants, scent blockers, the whole arsenal that let me pass through the world without unwanted attention. But here, alone in my bedroom, I could feel my body betraying me. "Fuck," I whispered, my breath fogging the window. The penthouse intercom crackled to life, making me jump. "Mr. Chu, there's a visitor for your father." A Mr. Lee Manwon. My stomach dropped. That name. I'd heard my father mention it exactly once, 3 weeks ago, drunk and rambling about a business opportunity that would change everything. Coming from a man who'd gambled away my mother's life insurance and our family home, I'd learned not to hope. "Send him up," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. I had 7 minutes before the private elevator reached our floor. 7 minutes to make myself presentable, to bury the Omega weakness that made alphas think they could own you. I pulled on a black turtleneck, ran fingers through my dark hair, checked my scent blockers. The elevator chimed. Nothing could have prepared me for Lee Manwon. He stepped into our foyer like he owned it. And maybe he did. Everything about him screamed power. The perfectly tailored charcoal suit that probably cost more than our monthly rent, the platinum watch catching the light, the way he moved with the lethal grace of a predator who'd never known fear. But it was his eyes that stopped my breath. Dark, calculating, ancient in a face that couldn't have been past 40. Alpha eyes that saw everything, missed nothing. Those eyes found me, held me. For a moment, the world contracted to just that gaze, that connection. Heat flared through my body. Not my approaching heat, something else entirely. Something dangerous. "You must be Sujay." His voice was deep, controlled, with the barest hint of a Busan accent he'd clearly worked to eliminate. "I'm Lee Manwon. I'm here to see your father." I swallowed, hating how my voice wanted to tremble. "He's sleeping. He's been drinking." "I see." Manwon's expression didn't change, but something flickered in those dark eyes. Disappointment? No calculation. "Perhaps we should reschedule." "No." The word came out sharper than I intended. "I mean, you came all this way. The rain. Please have a seat. I'll wake him." Manwon studied me for a long moment, and I felt stripped bare under that gaze, like he could see past the scent blockers, past the careful walls I'd built, straight down to the Omega core I tried so hard to hide. "All right," he said finally. "I'll wait." My father emerged 20 minutes later, reeking of soju and yesterday's desperation. I watched from the kitchen as Manwon's face remained perfectly neutral, revealing nothing of what he must think of the pathetic man stumbling into his own living room. "Mr. Lee, you came." My father's enthusiasm was painful to witness. Please sit. "Sujay, bring us tea." I bristled at being ordered around like a servant, but moved to comply. As I set the tea service on the coffee table, I felt Manwon's eyes on me again. When I glanced up, our gazes locked. Time stopped. "Your son is beautiful," Manwon said, still looking at me. My father preened, as if he'd had anything to do with it. "How old are you, Sujay?" 25, I said, lifting my chin. "And I'm not." "Sujay, go to your room," my father interrupted. "Mr. Lee and I have business to discuss." Rage flared hot in my chest, but I bit it back. I'd learned long ago that arguing with my father only made things worse. I bowed slightly, to Manwon, not to my father, and left. But I didn't go to my room. I stopped in the hallway, just out of sight, and listened. "Substantial debt," Manwon was saying. 200 million won to the Jade Dragon Syndicate. Another 50 million to various loan sharks. "Your creditors are losing patience, Mr. Chu." I know. My father's voice cracked. "But I have a plan." "Your plans are why you're in this position." Manwon's voice cut like a blade. "I'm offering you a way out. A complete erasure of your debts, a monthly stipend, and residence in one of my properties." Silence. I pressed closer to the wall, my heart pounding. "What's the catch?" my father asked, suspicion warring with desperate hope. "Marriage." I nearly gasped aloud. "Marriage? To my father?" "I need a legal connection to a Korean citizen for certain business ventures." Manwon continued smoothly. "Our marriage would be purely transactional. You would have your own quarters, your own life. I simply need the paperwork. And my son, he would live with us, of course. I have a 10-bedroom penthouse in Gangnam. There's more than enough space." My mind reeled. This couldn't be happening. My father couldn't actually be considering. When would the wedding be? He was going to do it. He was actually going to sell himself, and me to this stranger. I fled to my room before I could hear more, my chest tight with something between fury and panic. I paced like a caged animal, my heat-addled mind spinning through scenarios, each worse than the last. A marriage of convenience to a mafia boss, because that's what Lee Manwan had to be. No legitimate businessman talked about erasing debts to crime syndicates. My father, deeper in his cups and denial than ever. And me, trapped in the middle of it all. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, listening to the rain and wondering if my life could possibly get any worse. 2 months earlier. The wedding was a quiet affair at a municipal office, witnessed by 2 of Manwan's associates who looked like they could break a man in half without wrinkling their suits. My father wore a borrowed tie. Manwan wore a ring that probably cost more than everything my father had ever owned. I wore black and tried not to throw up. Afterward, we moved into Manwan's penthouse. Calling it a penthouse felt inadequate. It was a palace in the sky, all marble and dark wood and floor-to-ceiling windows that made Seoul look like a kingdom laid out for conquest. My room was twice the size of our old apartment. The bathroom had a soaking tub and a shower with 6 heads. The walk-in closet was empty except for a note in Manwan's precise handwriting. A stylist will come tomorrow. Choose whatever you like. I crumpled the note and threw it in the trash. For the first week, I barely saw Manwan. He left before I woke and returned after I'd gone to bed. My father seemed perfectly content with this arrangement, spending his days drinking expensive whiskey and his nights in his private suite watching television. I felt like a ghost haunting someone else's life. Then, 8 days after we moved in, I came home from my part-time job at a bookstore to find Manwan in the kitchen. He'd shed his suit jacket, rolled up his shirt sleeves. He was cooking something that smelled incredible garlic ginger, the rich umami of good soy sauce. "You're home early," he said without turning around. "You're home at all," I countered. His shoulders moved in what might have been a laugh. "I thought we should have dinner together. As a family." The word tasted wrong. "We're not a family." Now he did turn, and the intensity in his gaze made me step back. "No," he agreed. "We're not. But we live together now, and I believe in maintaining certain civilities." "Is that what you call it? What would you call it?" "A prison." The words burst out before I could stop them. An expensive, beautiful prison. Something shifted in Manwan's expression. Not anger, something more complicated. "Is that how you see this? How else should I see it?" I demanded. "You bought my father like a piece of furniture. You bought me. I saved your father from having his fingers cut off," Manwan said calmly, turning back to the stove. "I saved you from whatever creditors would have done to a pretty Omega to recoup their losses. If that's buying you, then yes, I bought you. But you're free to leave anytime you want." I blinked. "What?" "You heard me." He plated the food bulgogi, perfectly caramelized. Banchan in small dishes, arranged with the precision of a man who did nothing carelessly. "The door isn't locked. You can walk out right now. I won't stop you. And my father? My arrangement is with him, not you. He stays regardless." I stared at his back, at the powerful lines of his shoulders, the silver just starting to thread through his black hair. He was giving me a choice. An out. I should take it. I should walk away from this strange, dangerous situation and never look back. "I'll stay for dinner," I heard myself say. Manwan's hands stilled for just a moment. Then he pulled out a chair. "Sit." Dinner was awkward at first. My father arrived drunk, rambling about a horse race he'd watched. Manwan listened with polite disinterest, occasionally redirecting the conversation with surgical precision. But under the table, I felt his eyes on me, watching, assessing. When my father finally excused himself to rest, Manwan and I were left alone with the ruins of the meal between us. "Why did you really marry him?" I asked. Manwan swirled the wine in his glass. "I told you." "Bullshit." I leaned forward. "No one pays off 250 million won for paperwork. What do you really want?" For a long moment, he just looked at me. Then he smiled, a real smile that transformed his entire face, made him look younger, dangerous in a completely different way. "You're smart," he said. "I like that. You're avoiding the question." "Yes," he agreed. "I am." He stood, began clearing plates. I moved to help him, and our hands brushed over a serving dish. The contact was electric, sending heat racing up my arm and straight to my core. Manwan's nostrils flared. His pupils dilated. He could smell me, I realized with horror. The scent blockers weren't perfect, and this close, with my heat approaching. "You should go to your room," he said, his voice rougher than before. "Why?" "Because I'm trying to be civilized." He set the dish down with carefully controlled force. "And you're making it very difficult." "I'm not doing anything." "You're breathing." His eyes met mine, and there was hunger there now, raw and undisguised. You're standing in my kitchen wearing my dead wife's favorite color, smelling like rain and omega heat, and looking at me like you want me to. He cut himself off, jaw clenching. Like I want you to what? I challenged, even though my heart was trying to break out of my chest. Man one moved so fast I barely saw it. One moment he was across the kitchen, the next he had me pressed against the counter, his body caging mine, his scent, cedar and smoke and dangerous alpha, surrounding me. Like you want me to bend you over this counter and make you scream, he growled against my ear. Like you want me to bite that pretty neck and make you mine. Like you want me to fuck you until you forget your own name. I whimpered. Actually whimpered. His hand came up to cup my jaw, tilting my face up to his. His thumb brushed over my lower lip. But I won't, he said, stepping back. The loss of his heat made me want to cry. Because you're my stepson, and you deserve better than a monster like me. He turned and walked away, leaving me trembling and aching in the kitchen, wondering what the hell had just happened, and why I wanted it to happen again. 1 month earlier. I started testing his control after that night. It wasn't conscious at first. I'd wear shirts that showed my collarbones, those sensitive omega scent glands that tradition said should be covered. I'd stay up late, studying in the common areas where Man One would find me when he came home. I told myself I was just living my life, that his reactions weren't my problem. But I was lying. Man One responded with iron discipline. He never touched me, barely looked at me, treated me with the same polite distance he'd shown from the beginning. It was driving me insane. My heat was getting closer. I could feel it in my bones, in the way my skin felt too tight, in the slick that was starting to burn slowly. My heat hit on a Tuesday. I'd planned for it. Locked myself in my room with supplies, water, toys that I'd finally worked up the courage to buy online. I could handle this alone. I'd handled every heat alone since I presented at 17. But this one was different. This one had an alpha nearby. An alpha whose scent had been driving me slowly insane for weeks. An alpha my body had decided, with its primal omega instinct, was mine. By hour 3, I was a mess. Sweat-soaked sheets, trembling limbs, a desperate ache that no amount of toys could satisfy. I needed a knock on my door. Sujay. Man One's voice, rough and strained. I can smell you through the entire penthouse. Go away, I managed, my voice wrecked. Your father's not here. He went to Jeju for a week, some casino trip. A pause. I'm the only one here. Fuck. Of course my father would abandon me during my heat. Of course. I'm fine, I lied. You're not. Another pause, longer this time. I'm going to a hotel. I've left my number on the kitchen counter. If you need anything, medication, food, someone to call, use it. I heard his footsteps retreat. Heard the elevator chime. He was leaving. He was actually leaving me alone, respecting my space, being a decent alpha. And I hated it. I hated that he could walk away when my body was screaming for him. I hated that he had control when I had none. I hated that he was good when I wanted him to be bad. The ache intensified, becoming pain. I whimpered, curling into myself. My phone was across the room. I crawled to it, my body barely cooperating, and pulled up the kitchen security camera feed. A perk of the smart home system I'd discovered weeks ago. Man One stood at the counter, staring at a piece of paper. His hands were clenched into fists. His shoulders were rigid with tension. As I watched, he crumpled the paper, turned toward the elevator, and stopped. His head tilted back, like he was praying or cursing or both. Then he spun around and headed for the stairs. Toward my wing of the penthouse. Toward me. I should have been afraid. Should have locked the door, called someone something. Instead, I waited. The knock came again, harder this time. Sujay. Open the door. It's unlocked, I whispered, but he heard. Alpha hearing. The door opened. Man One stepped inside, and the spike of alpha pheromones nearly knocked me flat. He'd been suppressing them before, I realized. Keeping himself controlled. Not anymore. Fuck, he growled, eyes finding me on the floor. Look at you. I was a disaster. Empty except for a soaked t-shirt, skin flushed, slick coating my thighs. But the way he looked at me, I felt powerful. Wanted. Help me, I begged. If I touch you, I won't stop. He stayed in the doorway, knuckles white against the frame. Tell me to leave, Sujay. Tell me to go, and I will. I'll get you a professional heat partner, someone safe. I don't want safe. I struggled to my knees. I want you. I'm your stepfather. You're nothing to me. The words came out vicious. You married a drunk you don't love for reasons you won't explain. You're not my father. You're just. What am I, little prince? The endearment sent heat spiraling through me. You're the alpha I want. Please, Man One. Please. Something broke in his expression. He crossed the room in 3 strides, dropping to his knees in front of me. "If we do this," he said, hands cupping my face with devastating gentleness, "we do this my way." "Not a problem, Daddy," I said, trying to be bratty, trying to provoke him. His eyes blazed. His grip tightened just slightly. He liked that. "Rule number 1, he said, voice dropping to a dangerous purr. "You cannot tell your father about anything we do. This stays between us." I wouldn't want to tell him anyway. "Rule number 2. You use your safe word if anything becomes too much." "What's your safe word?" "Red," I breathed. "Good boy." He stroked my cheek with his thumb. "Rule number 3. During your heat, you're mine. You do what I say, when I say it." "Understood." I nodded beyond words. "Say it. I'm yours. I'll do what you say." Fucking perfect. He lifted me like I weighed nothing, carried me to the bed, laid me down with careful reverence. "Now let me take care of you." Man 1 pulled off his shirt, revealing his element that made my mouth water. Defined muscle, scars that told stories of violence, tattoos that marked him as someone dangerous. A tiger across his ribs. Characters I couldn't read down his spine. "See something you like?" he asked, a hint of amusement in his voice. "Everything," I admitted. He smiled, that rare, real smile that transformed him. Then he settled between my legs, spreading them wide. "Spread your legs wider, little prince." I swallowed down any remaining apprehension and did as he asked, exposing myself completely. Beautiful. His hands stroked up my inner thighs, making me shiver. So responsive. "Have you ever been with an alpha during heat?" "No. Never." His eyes flashed with something possessive. "Good. I'll be your first. Your only." Before I could process that declaration, he leaned down and dragged his tongue up my slick-soaked entrance. I moaned so loud the windows probably rattled. "Sensitive," he murmured approvingly. "And you taste fucking incredible." He dove back in, licking and sucking with focused intensity. His tongue breached me, and I nearly came apart right there. "Please," I begged, hands fisting in his hair. "That feels, oh God." He worked his tongue deeper, fucking me with it while his hands held my thighs open. The obscene wet sounds filled the room, mixing with my desperate whimpers. "My tongue can only go so deep," he said, pulling back to admire his work. "My cock can go much deeper, but you're not ready for that yet." "I am," I promised, trying to pull him back. "Please, I need." Instead of his tongue, he pressed one thick finger inside me. I gasped at the stretch. I'd used toys, but this was different. This was warm and alive, and attached to the alpha I was rapidly becoming obsessed with. "So tight," Man 1 groaned. "Even with all this slick. We're going to have to work you open, sweet thing." He worked that finger in and out, curling it to find that spot that made me see stars. When he added a second finger, the stretch burned in the best way. "Please, Daddy." I heard myself beg. "I need more." "You need my knot," he said matter of fact. "Your omega body is crying out for it. But we're going to take this slow. I won't hurt you. I don't care if it hurts." "I do." He scissored his fingers, stretching me further. "You're precious, Sujay. More precious than you know. I'm going to treat you like the treasure you are, even if you beg me not to." 3 fingers now, filling me, stretching me. It was intense and overwhelming, and still not enough. "Now," I demanded. "Please now." Man 1 pulled his fingers out, making me whine at the loss. But then he was stripping off his pants, and I forgot how to breathe. He was huge, thick and long, and already nodding slightly at the base. "It won't fit," I whispered. "It will." He stroked himself once, twice. "Your body was made for this. Made for me." He positioned himself at my entrance, the head of his cock pressing against me. "So big. Too big. Breathe, little prince," he instructed. "Relax for me." I tried. I really tried. But when he started pushing in, the stretch was intense enough to make me cry out. "Sure, I've got you." He held still, letting me adjust. "You're doing so well. Taking me so perfectly." Inch by inch, he filled me. The stretch bordered on pain, but the fullness, the rightness of it, overwhelmed everything else. When he was fully seated, we both groaned. "Fuck, you feel incredible," he ground out. "Like coming home." "Move," I begged. "Please move." He pulled almost all the way out and thrust back in, setting a rhythm that was gentle at first, then harder as my body opened for him. Each thrust hit that perfect spot inside me, sending pleasure cascading through my system. "Yes, yes, yes," I chanted, nails digging into his shoulders. "That's it, take it. Take all of me." His pace increased, powerful thrusts that rattled the headboard. "You were made for this. Made for me." I felt my orgasm building, coiling tight in my core. "I'm going to. Come for me, little prince. Come on my cock." I shattered, crying out his name as pleasure whited out my vision. My body clenched around him, and he groaned, his knot beginning to swell. Going to knot you, he warned. Going to fill you up and mark you as mine. Do you want that? Yes. Please, Daddy, please. His knot swelled fully, locking us together as he came with a roar. Heat flooded my insides, and I came again from the sensation alone, overwhelmed by the feeling of being so full, so claimed. Man one collapsed beside me, carefully turning us so I was draped across his chest, his knot still buried deep inside me. Perfect, he murmured, pressing kisses to my forehead. You're absolutely perfect. I wanted to respond, but exhaustion and satisfied omega hormones dragged me under. I fell asleep locked to my stepfather, and I'd never felt safer in my life. I woke to soft touches and gentle kisses. Man one was watching me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Tender but haunted, like he was memorizing my face. How do you feel? He asked. Good. Really good. I stretched, feeling pleasantly sore. My heat's gone down. It'll come back in a few hours. His hand stroked down my side. Heat cycles last 3 to 5 days. I'm not going anywhere. The promise in those words made my chest tight. Man one, what are we doing? Something we shouldn't. He sighed, pulling me closer. Something I can't seem to stop. I don't want you to stop. I know. That's the problem. He pressed a kiss to my temple. I'm not a good man, Sujay. I've done things, terrible things. I've hurt people, killed people. I'm the head of the largest crime syndicate in Seoul. Everything I touch turns to blood and ash. Then why do I feel safest in your arms? He flinched like I'd struck him. Because you don't know me. Not really. So tell me. I propped myself up on his chest. Tell me why you really married my father. Tell me the truth. Man one was quiet for so long, I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, I was married before. Her name was Jihai. She was everything. Kind, strong, brilliant. She saw the monster I was and loved me anyway. His voice went rough. She was killed 4 years ago. A rival syndicate, trying to get to me. They tortured her for information she didn't have, then sent me pieces of her body as a warning. My blood ran cold. Man one. I destroyed them. Every single person involved. Burned their organization to the ground and salted the earth behind me. His eyes were distant, remembering horrors. But it didn't bring her back. Nothing could bring her back. I'm so sorry. I vowed I'd never care about anyone again. Never put anyone in that position. He touched my face gently. Then I met you. Walked into that penthouse for a simple business transaction and saw you standing there, defiant and beautiful and everything I shouldn't want. And I knew I was fucked. So you married my father to be close to me? To protect you, he corrected. Your father's debts put you in danger. The Jade Dragons would have sold you to the highest bidder. And trust me, the bidders for a pretty Omega are never good people. By bringing you into my household, under my protection, I could keep you safe. While keeping me at arm's length. That was the plan, yes. His laugh was bitter. Obviously, that worked well. I kissed him, slow and deep. I don't want arm's length. I want this. I want you. Even knowing what I am, especially knowing what you are. I meant it. The danger, the darkness, it called to something in me I'd never acknowledged. I'm not some fragile thing that needs protecting. I'm stronger than you think. I know you are. He rolled me beneath him, settling between my legs. But that doesn't mean I won't protect you anyway. His cock, already hardening again, pressed against my entrance. I was still slick from earlier, still open for him. Again, I breathed. Heat cycles are relentless. He pushed inside in one smooth thrust, making us both groan. I warned you, for the next few days you're mine. And I'm going to worship every inch of you until you can't remember a time before us. The next 3 days were a blur of heat and pleasure and Man one's overwhelming presence. He barely left my side, anticipating my needs before I could voice them. When the fever spiked, he cooled me with ice and gentle touches. When the ache became unbearable, he filled me until I screamed his name. When I was too exhausted to move, he fed me, bathed me, held me while I slept. It was intense and overwhelming and absolutely perfect. On the 4th day, when my heat finally broke completely, I woke to find him sitting in the chair by my window, fully dressed in one of his perfect suits, looking every inch the ruthless alpha the world knew. You're leaving, I said, hating how small my voice sounded. I have a meeting I can't miss. He stood, crossed to the bed. But I'll be back tonight. We need to talk about what happens next. What if I don't want to talk? What if I just want this to keep happening? Sujay, I know it's complicated. I know there are 1,000 reasons we shouldn't. But I don't care. I sat up, letting the sheet fall. Do you care? His eyes darkened as they traced over my body. More than I should. Then that's all that matters. He leaned down, kissed me hard and possessive. Tonight. We'll figure this out tonight. But tonight never came. I was making dinner, a skill I discovered I actually enjoyed, when the penthouse elevator chimed. My father stumbled out, clearly drunk, reeking of cheap perfume and cheaper decisions. Sujay. My son. He spread his arms like he expected a hug. Did you miss your old man? You've been gone 4 days, I said flatly. 4 glorious days. I won big at the tables, boy. Really big. Enough too. He stopped, sniffed the air. His eyes narrowed. You smell different. Panic spiked through me. I'd showered, used scent blockers, but if he could smell. You went into heat, he said, stumbling closer. While I was gone. Did man one, did he? He went to a hotel. I lied quickly. He was very respectful. Gave me space. My father studied me with more clarity than I'd seen from him in years. For a moment, I thought he knew. Thought he could see through the lie. Then he laughed. Of course he did. Man one's a good man. Too good for the likes of us, that's for sure. He patted my shoulder roughly. Make sure dinner's enough for 3. I invited a friend over. Dread pooled in my stomach. What friend? Business associate. Wants to meet the famous Lee Man one. He grinned. Might be another opportunity for us, boy. Might finally catch a real break. The elevator chimed again. A man stepped out, expensive suit, dead eyes, smile that never reached them. Ah, there he is. Sujay, meet Park Jae-sung. Jae-sung, my boy Sujay. Park's eyes crawled over me like insects. Charming. Absolutely charming. Your father didn't mention you were an Omega. My father forgets a lot of things, I said coldly. Sujay. My father's tone held warning. Be polite. Park laughed. It's fine. I like them with spirit. He moved into the living room like he owned it. So when does the famous Lee Man one arrive? I'm eager to discuss potential partnerships. Every instinct screamed danger. This man was wrong. Everything about him was wrong. I pulled out my phone, texted man one. My father brought someone home. Park Jae-sung. Something feels off. The response was immediate. Get out. Now. Take the fire stairs. I'm sending someone to get you. My hands shook. I need to. You need to sit and entertain our guest, my father said, oblivious. Man one will be home soon. Park smiled, and it was the smile of a snake. Yes, Sujay. Stay. We have so much to discuss. I didn't run. Looking back, maybe I should have. But running felt like abandoning my father, no matter how much he'd failed me. And some reckless part of me wanted to face this, wanted to prove I wasn't the fragile Omega everyone assumed. Park settled into man one's favorite chair, a deliberate provocation, and accepted the whiskey my father poured with an oily smile. So Sujay, he said, swirling the amber liquid, your father tells me you work at a bookstore. How quaint. It pays the bills. Does it? His eyebrow lifted. I was under the impression Lee Man one pays the bills now. My father laughed too loud. Well, yes, but Sujay's always been independent. Stubborn, like his mother. His mother. Yes. Park leaned forward. Tell me, Mr. Chu, does your new husband know about your late wife's connections? The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. I don't know what you're talking about, my father said, but his hands trembled. Don't you? Park's smile widened. Han-mi-san. Such a beautiful woman. Such a shame about the car accident. Though we both know it wasn't really an accident, was it? I went cold. What are you saying? Your mother witnessed something she shouldn't have. Something involving the Jade Dragons and a certain arms deal. Park sipped his whiskey. She was going to testify. The car's brake lines were cut. These things happen. You're lying, I whispered. Am I? Ask your father. He knows. He's always known. I turned to my father, who'd gone gray. Dad. I couldn't, he crumpled. They said they'd kill you too. I had to keep quiet. Had to take the money they offered to stay silent. I'm sorry, Sujay. I'm so sorry. The world tilted. My mother hadn't died in an accident. She'd been murdered. And my father had known, had been paid off, had spent that blood money on alcohol and gambling while I... This is touching, Park interrupted. But we're wasting time. Lee Man one will be here soon, and I have a proposition for him. Your Jade Dragons, I said, pieces clicking together. Man one eliminated your leadership. You're what's left. Very good. Smart and pretty. Park stood. We've been rebuilding. Slowly. Carefully. And we've realized that direct confrontation with Lee Man one is unproductive. So we're taking a different approach. He moved toward me. My father did nothing. You're going to help us, Park continued. You're going to give us information about Man one's operations, his weaknesses, his plans. And in return, we'll let your pathetic father live. No. He grabbed my arm, grip bruising. I don't think you understand. We already have men positioned throughout this building. Man 1's security has been compromised. You help us, or everyone you care about dies tonight. The elevator chimed. Man 1 stepped out, and the air itself seemed to sharpen. He took in the scene, Park's hand on me, my father cowering on the couch, my terrified expression, and his face went utterly blank. That blankness was more terrifying than any rage. Park Jae-sung, he said, voice mild. I thought I made myself clear when I killed your brother. The Jade Dragons are finished in Seoul. My brother was weak. I'm not. Park pulled me against him, and I felt the press of a gun against my ribs. New leadership, new tactics. Starting with your pretty little stepson. Man 1's eyes flickered to me. For a moment, I saw something break behind his carefully controlled expression. Let him go. I don't think so. Park's breath was hot against my ear. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to transfer control of your southern territories to me. You're going to pay 50 billion won as reparations. And you're going to publicly acknowledge the Jade Dragon's right to operate in Seoul. And if I refuse, then I paint these walls with Omega brain matter. The gun pressed harder. Your choice, Lee Man 1. Your empire or your whore. The word hit me like a slap. My father flinched but said nothing. Man 1's expression didn't change. You've made a critical error. Have I? You assumed I'd negotiate for something that belongs to me. Man 1's smile was a razor. I don't negotiate. I eliminate. Everything happened at once. Man 1 moved with inhuman speed, closing the distance between them. Park's gun went off. I felt the bullet's heat as it passed my ear. And then Man 1's hand was on Park's wrist, twisting with a sickening crack. Park screamed. The gun clattered to the floor. Man 1 caught me as I stumbled away, steadied me, then turned back to Park with death in his eyes. You came into my home, he said, each word precise. Threaten what's mine. Put your hands on my Omega. He's not. He's your stepson. He's mine. The roar shook the windows. And you're dead. The fight was brutal and efficient. Man 1 didn't just want to kill Park. He wanted him to suffer. Bones broke with wet cracks. Blood sprayed across expensive furniture. My father vomited in the corner. I should have looked away. Should have been horrified. Instead, I watched my alpha destroy the man who'd threatened me, and I felt safe. When Park was a broken mess on the floor, barely breathing, Man 1 pulled out his phone. Cleanup crew. Penthouse. 2 targets. He paused. Yes, 2. Mr. Chu is compromised. My father's head snapped up. Wait, Man 1, I didn't know. You knew everything. Man 1's voice was cold. You knew about Sujae's mother. Took their blood money. And tonight, you sat there while they threatened your son. You're done. Please. My father scrambled forward. I'll do anything. The only reason you're not dead already is because I won't make Sujae watch me kill his father. Man 1 looked at me. But he's gone. Tonight. Permanently. I should have protested. Should have pleaded for mercy. Okay, I said instead. My father's expression crumpled. Sujae, you let her die, I said, surprised by how steady my voice was. You took their money and let Mom's killers walk free. You drank it away, gambled it away, while I worked to keep us fed. And tonight you sat there. You just sat there. I was scared. So was I. But I didn't sell out the person I loved. I turned to Man 1. I don't want to see him again. Man 1 nodded. You won't. The cleanup crew arrived, efficient men and women in dark clothes who worked with the precision of long practice. They took Park's broken body, my father's sobbing form, and every trace of violence. Within an hour, the penthouse was pristine again. I sat on the balcony, wrapped in a blanket, watching Seoul glitter below, trying to process what had happened, what I'd learned, what I'd lost. Man 1 found me there, cleaned of blood, wearing fresh clothes. How are you holding up? He asked. I don't know. I pulled the blanket tighter. My mother was murdered. My father sold his silence. I just watched you beat a man half to death in our living room. And the weirdest part is, I'm not upset about that last one. He sat beside me. You should be. It was brutal. It was necessary. I looked at him. He was going to kill me. I would never have let that happen. His hand found mine. The moment he touched you, he was dead. The rest was just details. Man 1. What my father said about my mother. Is it true? I had it investigated after I met you. Yes. It's true. His jaw tightened. The men who killed her are dead now. I made sure of it. When? 2 weeks after I married your father. Before that night in your room. He met my eyes. I couldn't touch you, couldn't claim you, until I'd avenged her. Until I'd made right what your father let happen. Tears burned my eyes. You killed for her. For someone you never met. I killed for you. Because you deserve justice. even if you didn't know you needed it. I kissed him then, salt and desperation and gratitude I couldn't put into words. What happens now? I asked when we broke apart. My father's gone. The Jade Dragons know about us. Everything's changed. Now, Man One said, pulling me into his arms. We stop pretending. No more hiding. No more shame. You're mine, and I'm yours, and anyone who has a problem with that can join Park in whatever hell he's burning in. People will talk. Your organization can accept it or leave. I'm the head of the largest syndicate in Seoul. I don't answer to anyone. His hand cupped my face. But I'm asking you, is this what you want? Really want? Because once we do this, there's no going back. I thought about my mother, denied justice for years. About my father, choosing money over truth. About all the ways people compromised themselves, made themselves small, lived half-lives because they were afraid. I want this, I said. I want you. Consequences and all. Man One kissed me like a promise, like a vow, like the beginning of something that would either save us or destroy us. I was betting on salvation. 2 weeks later, the meeting room fell silent when I walked in. 20 of Man One's top lieutenants stared at me, some curious, some hostile, all calculating. I wore one of the suits the stylist had chosen, dark gray that fit perfectly, Man One's scent deliberately clinging to my skin. I was making a statement. We both were. Man One sat at the head of the table, and I took the seat at his right hand. His Omega's seat. The position traditionally reserved for a spouse or mate. The whispers started immediately. Gentlemen, Man One said, and the room snapped to attention. Some of you have heard rumors. I'm here to confirm them. Soo-jae is my partner. He has my protection, my mark, and my absolute trust. Anyone who has a problem with this can leave now. No one moved, but I felt the tension ratchet up. With respect, sir, said Kim Min-soo, one of the older lieutenants. Your personal life is your business. But bringing an Omega into strategic meetings is my decision, Man One interrupted. Soo-jae has a brilliant tactical mind and insights that have already proven valuable. He stays. That was a lie. I'd barely been involved in the business side, but I understood the play. Man One was forcing them to accept me, to see me as more than just a pretty Omega warming his bed. The Jade Dragons, I said, surprising everyone including Man One. They won't stop with Park. His death will galvanize the remnants. You need to hit them now, before they reorganize. Min-soo's eyebrow lifted. And you know this how? Because it's what Man One would do. It's what any smart leader would do. I pulled up a map on the display. They have 3 remaining cells, one in Incheon, one in Busan, one in Gwangju. Eliminate the leadership simultaneously, absorb their legitimate businesses, offer their soldiers the choice to join or retire. You turn a threat into an asset overnight. Silence. Then Man One smiled, slow and proud. Thoughts? It's actually solid strategy, admitted another lieutenant, Park Hyun-woo. Aggressive but calculated. Could work. Make it happen, Man One ordered. Coordinate with our allies in each city. I want this done by the end of the week. He looked at me. Soo-jae will oversee the Incheon operation. The room erupted. Sir, no offense, but an Omega in the field. This is insane. Enough. Man One's voice cracked like a whip. Soo-jae goes to Incheon with a full security detail. He observes, he reports, he learns. Anyone who has a problem with this can tender their resignation. Effective immediately. The room fell silent again. I touched Man One's hand under the table, a brief squeeze. Thank you, it said. I've got this, it promised. The meeting continued, but the dynamic had shifted. They still doubted me. I could see it in their eyes, but they wouldn't challenge Man One openly. Not over this. As we filed out, Min-soo caught my arm. A word, Soo-jae? Man One tensed, but I nodded. It's fine. We stepped into an empty conference room. Min-soo studied me with shrewd eyes. You're playing a dangerous game, he said finally. I know. Do you? Really? He leaned against the desk. Lee Man One is the most powerful man in Seoul. He's also the most dangerous. People who get close to him tend to die violently. I know that too. His first wife. I know what happened to Ji-hai, I interrupted. He told me everything. Min-soo's expression softened slightly. Then you know the risk. You know what loving him costs. Why are you telling me this? Because I served under Ji-hai too. She was brilliant, kind, strong. And she was murdered because of who she loved. He met my eyes. I don't want to watch another person Man One loves die. It nearly destroyed him the first time. A second time would finish the job. Then help me survive, I said simply. Teach me what I need to know. How to navigate this world. How to be useful instead of just protected. Min-soo considered this. You're serious. Completely. It won't be easy. The others will resent you. question you, test you. Let them. I'll prove myself. A smile tugged at his lips. You know what? I believe you. He extended his hand. All right, Sujay. I'll teach you. But you follow my instructions exactly. In this world, mistakes get people killed. I shook his hand. Understood. The Incheon operation went perfectly. We hit the Jade Dragon cell at dawn, swift, brutal, efficient. I stayed back with the security detail like promised, but I watched everything, learned everything, saw exactly how Man-1's organization operated. It was terrifying and fascinating in equal measure. When the dust settled, the cell leader was in custody. His soldiers were given the choice to join or leave, and their businesses were being absorbed into Man-1's empire. Clean work, Minsu said, appearing beside me. Your intelligence was accurate. The timing perfect. Man-1 taught me to be thorough. Man-1 taught you more than that. He nodded toward where Man-1 was speaking with the local lieutenants. Look at how they respond to him. That's not fear. Well, not just fear. It's respect. Loyalty. Love, even. He inspires it without trying. He makes people want to be better, I said softly. Yes. And now he's making you better. Making you strong enough to stand beside him. Minsu clapped my shoulder. You did well today, Sujay. Really well. The praise warmed me more than it should have. That night, back in Seoul, Man-1 pulled me into his arms the moment we were alone. You were incredible today, he murmured against my hair. I barely did anything. You survived. You learned. You impressed Minsu, which is nearly impossible. He pulled back to look at me. I was so proud watching you out there. I was terrified. Good. Fear keeps you sharp. Keeps you alive. He kissed me, deep and claiming. But you didn't let it control you. That's strength, little prince. We made love that night with new intensity. Not just heat-driven anymore, but something deeper. A partnership forged in blood and trust and choice. Afterward, wrapped in his arms, I broached the topic that had been bothering me. Man-1, what about my father? His body tensed. What about him? Where is he? What happened to him? A pause. Do you really want to know? Yes. He's in a rehabilitation facility in Jeju. Private, expensive, secure. He's getting treatment for his alcoholism and gambling addiction. Man-1 stroked my hair. I didn't kill him, Sujay. Despite everything, he's still your father. But he can never come back to Seoul. That's non-negotiable. Relief and sadness warred in my chest. Can I see him? Eventually? If you want. When you're ready. He tilted my face up. But you owe him nothing. Remember that. You don't have to forgive him just because you share blood. I know. But I think I need closure. Real closure. Then when you're ready, I'll take you. I kissed him, grateful for his understanding, his patience, his willingness to let me navigate this in my own time. I love you, I whispered against his lips. He froze. Sujay, I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. But it's true. I met his eyes. I love you, Man-1. All of you. The darkness and the light. The killer and the protector. The ruthless boss and the gentle alpha. All of it. His eyes shone with something that might have been tears. I don't deserve you. Probably not. But you have me anyway. I smiled. So what are you going to do about it? He showed me exactly what he was going to do about it, worshipping my body for hours until we were both exhausted and sated and complete. As I drifted off to sleep, I heard him whisper against my hair. I love you too, little prince. More than I've ever loved anything. And I'll spend the rest of my life proving it. 6 months later. The gala was in full swing. Seoul's elite gathered in a glittering ballroom to celebrate. Honestly, I'd forgotten what we were celebrating. Some charity. Man-1 had made a substantial donation, which meant we had to attend. I stood beside him in a custom tuxedo, his hand possessive on my lower back, and watched the social dance unfold. People approached carefully, respectfully. They acknowledged me as Man-1's partner now, some genuinely, some because they feared the alternative. I'd proven myself over the past months, taking on more responsibilities in the organization, sitting in on strategic meetings, even leading a few operations myself. I was no longer just the Omega who'd seduce the big bad Alpha. I was a force in my own right. You're smiling, Man-1 murmured in my ear. What's amusing you? Remember the first time we met? How terrified I was. You hid it well. I was convinced you were going to be the death of me. His hand tightened on my waist. And now I know you're my life. He kissed my temple, a rare public display of affection that had people whispering. Let them whisper. We were past caring. A commotion near the entrance caught my attention. A young Omega, maybe 19, was arguing with security. Dressed too casually for the event, clearly not on the guest list, but desperately trying to get in. Please, I heard him beg. I just need to speak to Lee Man-1. Please, it's important. Man-1 sighed. Another one. Another what? Someone who thinks they can appeal to me directly. He started to turn away, dismiss it. Security will handle it. But something about the Omega's desperation called to me. I remembered being desperate once, trapped with no options, no hope. Wait, I said. Let me talk to him. Man-1 frowned but nodded. 2 minutes. I approached the Omega, who looked ready to bolt. Up close, I could see the bruises poorly hidden by makeup, the tremor in his hands, the fear rolling off him in waves. I'm Sujay, I said gently. What's your name? Tamin. My name's Tamin. His eyes darted to Man-1. I need help. Please. My family owes money to the Red Phoenix gang, and they said if we don't pay by tomorrow, they're going to sell me. My blood ran cold. How much? 30 million won. We don't have it. We'll never have it. But I heard that Lee Man-1 sometimes helps people, and I thought maybe. Tears streamed down his face. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come. This was stupid. It wasn't stupid. I looked back at Man-1, who'd been listening. Our eyes met. I saw the moment he understood what I was asking. He could say no. Should say no. We weren't a charity. Helping every desperate Omega who came begging would set a dangerous precedent. But he looked at me, at this terrified kid, and I saw him remember. Remember what it felt like to lose someone, to fail to protect what mattered. The Red Phoenix gang, Man-1 said, approaching. They operate in Gangdong, correct? Tamin nodded frantically. Consider your family's debt paid. I'll send someone to collect you and your family tonight. You'll stay in one of my safe houses until alternative arrangements can be made. He pulled out his phone, made a call. And the Red Phoenix gang will be educated on the consequences of human trafficking. Tamin collapsed to his knees, sobbing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Sujay, Man-1 said, looking at me with something that might have been awe. This was his decision. Later, in the car heading home, Man-1 pulled me close. You're changing me, he said quietly. Good change or bad change? I don't know yet. He kissed my hair. Before you, I would have walked past that Omega without a second thought. Would have seen him as a liability, a complication. But you made me see him as a person. Someone who deserves help. Someone worth saving. You saved me, I reminded him. Did I? Sometimes I think you saved me. His hand found mine. I was dead inside, Sujay. Going through the motions. Building an empire because I didn't know what else to do. Then you walked into my life and made me feel again. Want again. Hope again. Man-1. Marry me. I froze. What? Marry me. Really marry me. Not some fake transaction like with your father. Marry me because you love me and I love you, and I want to spend every day for the rest of my life proving I'm worthy of you. My heart was trying to escape my chest. We're already legally family. The marriage to my father is being annulled. I filed the paperwork yesterday. He pulled out a small box, opened it to reveal a ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. This isn't about legality or convenience. This is about us. About choosing each other. People will talk. People always talk. I don't care. His eyes burned into mine. I care about you. Only you. So what do you say, little prince? Will you marry me? I kissed him instead of answering, pouring everything I felt into that kiss. Yes, and always and forever. When we broke apart, he was smiling that rare, real smile that transformed his entire face. Is that a yes? That's a yes. Yes to everything. Yes to you. He slipped the ring on my finger, and it fit perfectly. Of course it did. Everything with Man-1 fit perfectly. Even the broken pieces. 3 months later. Our wedding was small, just Minsu and a handful of Man-1's most trusted people. No press. No fanfare. Just vows exchanged in the penthouse where we'd first given in to the attraction between us. I wore white. Man-1 wore black. We promised forever to each other, and we meant it. That night, he made love to me as my husband, my mate, my alpha. And when his knot locked us together, when he bit down on my mating gland and claimed me permanently, I felt complete in a way I'd never imagined possible. Mine, he growled against my neck. Yours, I agreed. Always yours. 1 year later, I woke to sunlight streaming through the windows and Man-1's arm draped over my waist. He was still asleep, face peaceful in a way it never was during waking hours. My hand drifted to my stomach, to the barely there swell that our doctor had confirmed yesterday. Pregnant.